Welcome back to Tell Me More with me, CJ Quartlbaum. Tell Me More exists to help bridge the gap in our intergenerational workplace dynamics and to build better leaders. Today is a bit of a solo pod, so probably a shorty but goodie, but I wanted to react to this video over here. It's a reel that I saw on Instagram that I thought was pretty good. It's about leadership, so check this out. Signs your boss might be a narcissist. I thought this was pretty good because having worked for what I believe were probably a few narcissists in my time, just based on what the video said, not me, I thought it'd be a pretty fun one to tackle. This video came from the creator Before Burnout. Highly recommend checking out their page. They post a lot of quality memes, reels, and advice on what to do when you find yourself maybe in toxic work environments or working for bad leaders or on the precipice of burnout. Far too many of us have been in that place where we've reached our end and we're showing up as a shell of ourselves because we've burnt out. Burnout is not fun. I don't want to see anyone get there. I think that in our culture where we are so overworked, it's unnecessary. So in my post this week, I gave you some different leadership styles. I talked about the different types of leaders and how leadership is everything. The health of an organization will rise and fall on the health of their leadership, on how good their leadership is. Now, I talked about authoritarians and micromanagers and permissive leaders. I talked about my favorite leaders being those who are a combination of servant leaders, transformational leaders, and coaches. But one type of leader we didn't talk about was the narcissist. Now, I think the narcissist can show up in any of these different leadership styles, but is most likely to show up in the authoritarian, that my way or the highway kind of person. Now, what's cool here is this creator gives us 4 signs to look out for. Playing favorites, downplaying team contributions while hyping their own, lacking empathy, and retaliating against those who question them. So my reaction to this is really what do you do? How do you survive this environment? If you are showing up to work every day and this is your lived experience, your reality, you will burn out quickly. So my first piece of advice to you is, if you can, don't leave. There's nothing holding you there. It's not your job to change a narcissistic leader. It is not your job to point out to them all the ways in which they're a narcissist. It is not your job to change a toxic place, because in reality, it is more likely to change you than you are to change it. And you will drive yourself crazy, run yourself ragged, trying to change an established culture and trying to change people who don't want to be changed. So if you can leave, go on and skedaddle. Get out of there. Now, everyone may not have the option to leave, or it might have to be a bit of a slow burn. So my advice to you, if you're stuck in that place for however long, document everything. Jay-Z said it best: men lie, women lie, numbers don't, and receipts don't lie. Keep a paper trail. Every email, every interaction, send summary emails, send summary Slack messages. If you get praise in your work from other people, document that as well. Time, place, and date. Because one thing about a narcissistic leader is they are going to try to spin the narrative. See, when it comes to narcissistic leaders, they need control. And if they can't control you, they're going to try to control the way that people see you. Here's a great example of this is when Jalen Rose gave us this game like 15 years ago. When an NBA team wants to trade a player, a star player, they can't just up and trade him. So what they do is they start to leak things to the press. They start to control the narrative. They say, yeah, man, he's been showing up late to practice and, he's been having problems with management. And you know he did this, so they start leaking things about his personal life so that when they trade him, the blow has been softened. The fan base and their minds have already kind of turned on him. And now they see his exit not as something that they would have been against, but something they see as justified. The narcissistic leader is really good at that sort of manipulation. The narcissistic leader will tell you that you didn't hear what you heard, that you didn't experience what you experienced, that you didn't do what you did. And that's why we keep receipts. That is why we document everything. They want to downplay your accomplishments. Good thing you have a paper trail and testimonials. They want to retaliate against you. It's a good thing you kept timelines and screenshots. This is not being petty. This is survival. This is playing the game in ways you may not want to play, but to maintain your reputation and your integrity, and to know that you're not just going to let someone bully you into who they want you to be. My third tip for you: be unfazed. Now, this is easier said than done, but narcissists live on the reaction. They want to get the rise out of you. They want to throw you off. Don't give them what they want. Don't. Now, this is hard because even when you're triggered, there's this idea of still being able to practice equanimity. Equanimity is the ability to remain even. You're not getting too high. You're not getting too low. They're going to say the thing. They're going to throw the thing out there about you. Narcissists will even try to manipulate you by telling you that they're on your side in an effort to induce some sort of reaction out of you. They'll even send their little henchmen and people to come question you and to maybe try to throw you off. Remain unfazed. Don't give them the reaction they're looking for. Be on alert for their spies. Be on alert. The narcissist will surround themselves by people who will say yes to them about everything, and the people who brown nose them, and they're going to deploy those people as pawns on a chessboard. And they're going to feed them things about you in an attempt to control the narrative. Every team has its brown noser. Watch out for their fishing. And you're going to know who they are. They tend to be the favorites. They tend to be the people that the boss loves to hang out with, the people that the boss spends their time with. Be mindful. Be alert. You don't have to be mean. You don't need to be a jerk. You don't need to stoop to anyone's level or play their game. But you do need to be wise. Before Burnout talked about that lack of empathy. Don't be surprised when it shows up. Don't expect them to give you what they don't have. Empathy. Emotional intelligence. And that's okay. You are there to do your job and to go home. But keep all of those receipts because they'll be important. My next piece of advice comes from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Begin with the end in mind. Plan your exit. If you're stuck there for a little while, that's okay. Plan the path to freedom. The road to getting out. At the end of the day, you deserve to be in a place of flourishing. You deserve to be in a place where you are celebrated and not just tolerated. We're all adults. We know where we're wanted and we know where we're not wanted. So if we can help it, it is best for us to not keep ourselves in places where we're clearly not wanted. If this is what you're dealing with, then this just isn't the place for you. And that's okay. Like, this is just a job. If you remember from last week's post, work is what you do. It is not who you are. So go figure out the exit plan. Maybe it's in starting your own thing. Maybe the exit plan is in finding an organization that is more suited for you. But life is far too short and work is far too big of a piece of it for you to be spending this much time miserable and disaffected and constantly questioning yourself and who you are and your identity. Whatever your job is, it's not worth it. And if you feel like your job is worth it, there's some other organization out there doing the exact same thing. Or maybe you've built enough knowledge that you can just go do the thing yourself. But you're a person, a full person, and you deserve to be treated as such. And no one will ever fault you for taking care of yourself. for commanding the respect that is inherent with being a person. And listen, as you go off to a new place, you might not get the reference from your last job, and that's okay. Believe me, it doesn't matter as much as you think it will. But when it comes up in your next interview, be prepared to give a good answer. You can say, hey, there were some social, cultural, philosophical differences that just made it not a good fit for me. I went, I did the best that I could, but from a cultural standpoint, we just weren't a good fit. From a philosophical standpoint, we weren't a good fit. Hey, maybe from a methodological standpoint, right? We had different paths that we saw on how to reach the vision. And that's okay. That is more than okay. There is no job, no reference, no paycheck that is worth your peace. At the end of the day, toxic leadership and toxic work environments have a terrible effect on your health. You don't get a badge of honor for suffering at work. You don't get a badge of honor for putting up with being mistreated, being disrespected, being invalidated. So if you can help it, get yourself out of that position. And if you can't, do everything you can to protect yourself and protect your peace. Because one thing we're not going to do in 2025, 26, or 27 is let people continue to mistreat us. If you need help figuring out what's next, the path forward, if you need help being a better leader, if you find that you have some narcissistic tendencies in your leadership, I'm here to help coach you through that. If you're trying to figure out where do I go in my career, I am here to help coach you through that. I'm 20 plus years in the game. I've worked in finance, I've worked in nonprofits, I've started things, I've traveled the country as a speaker, I've been a writer, a college professor, big banks, little banks, I've done it all. So if you need some help, you don't have to go this alone. And if there's one thing about surviving toxic leadership you need to know, it is that you will need a support system around you, whether it is in the office or out of the office. But we are not meant to live this life alone, to deal with the things that we deal with on our own. And that includes work. So get a support system, get the help you need, and get out. And I'll see you next time as I ask you to tell me more.